Hi, I'm Ted from Everything Attachments, and we're happy today to have a new pulverizer designed and ready for you. We've taken all the experience that we've had through the Woods Guild Corporation selling those tools for over 40 years. We've taken what we liked out of the pulverizers we've sold and kept that and just tried to make a few improvements and give you more for your money. Without the distributors and the dealers and all, we're able to build you a better, heavier product, put better stuff in it, bigger stuff, make it last longer, and give you a better value delivered to your home. It is quick attach acceptable, has the clevis hitch on it. Now, pulverizers typically came in two different style of teeth down here. They used to use what used to look like kind of like a railroad spike, and that was the first Guild tool that was built in Charlotte, and I used to go pick them up when I was a kid when it was Guild, and that's one way of doing it. And then they have an upgrade called a big tooth, which costs about $250 more, and the big tooth design is what we're using. Now on ours, give me just a little turn here, Peanut, a little angle where they can see a little better, right there. On ours right here, what the Woods Company is doing now, because it's easier to build, but it's not what I like. They put two holes through the I-beam. They use a U-bolt through the hole in the tooth. The only problem with that is they have a small girdle at the bottom with a slot where the tooth kind of fits. But as you really hit things hard, nice big rocks and things like that, two things happen. You got a fairly expensive U-bolt there that's got fine threads on it, and every time you hit something it stretches a little bit. So when you need to flip these teeth or stretch or change them, a lot of the time, maybe not all the time, but a lot of the time you're going to have to replace the U-bolt because those fine threads have stretched and the nuts simply galled up on them when you try to take them on and off. Even if this bolt were bent in the middle, it's a 50-cent bolt instead of a $4 or $5 U-bolt. So it's going to be cheaper to switch them upside down because they are reversible, or replace them. Now, what we've got here are two plates that are welded all the way from the top to bottom, so they fully secure that tooth all the way, so it can't go left or right, it can't go in or out because it's using the back of the beam as all the support. So by far, in my opinion, this is just a better, it's not nearly as cheap to make because there's a whole lot of welding, there's more metal, there's more weight here. Everything about it is a little harder to do, but for you at the end, since I don't have dealers and all in the middle of your price, we're able to give you more for the money. So we've chosen to stay with the big tooth design, welded in place where you don't have to have all those U-bolts and all. Just make it a simpler, better design. A little more effort, but it works. Turn us around over here to the side, Peanut. So, just like on the Woods model here, these two pins are actually connected to a plate about 5 inches in here, which gives you a cantilever, which keeps these pins really rigid and strong, and you're not going to have any problems with these pins building. There's a full plate on the outside of it, keeps it really tight where your roller isn't going to be moving around on you. So if you make a sharp turn, you've got enough strength here to keep this from bending. Everything here is as good as I can make it. Now, right here on a Woods model, you've got a 1-inch shaft, and over the years, and I've seen a lot of these used, what usually happens is most people don't keep them greased all the time, and then what'll happen, because they're not back here looking at it, that bearing will freeze up, kind of wear the shaft, and then what you've got to do is weld it up, resurface it, put your new bearing on. It's kind of a pain. Now, come on around a little further, Peanut. With an 1.25 inch bearing, it's going to give you a lot more wear life than a 1-inch bearing to start with. It's just simply a bigger bearing. It's slow turning, so you got a lot more lifespan there to start with. Come on around till this is even. On the Woods Guild pulverizer, they run the edge of this drum right next to the edge of this. And that's kind of trying to keep the debris from getting in there. But I've seen too many of them clogged up with, because usually when you're landscaping, the final landscaping job, like at a house or something, you've put out straw some places, and for whatever reason, I've seen it too much, baler twine, the twine gets wrapped up in here, and it could be other debris or strings that were along with the job site, but once it gets in there, it's almost impossible to get back out. I've had to take these apart a lot just to get the trash out of them. So we've left about enough room to get your fingers in there, be able to work. Back me up just a little bit. So you've got enough to get your fingers in there. That's good. You can get in there to work, and you can get it cleaned out. And with the bigger bearing, you shouldn't have any problem with life. And we put the same spring and mechanism on here to give you your down pressure on your roller. We've put the bolt holes here to be able to add the second roller if you want to. And it has also got its own suspension on it. It's not just bolted rigid. It has its own suspension where both rollers can flex, and that's going to do you the best job possible. Now, to give this shaft its strength, what we've done is we take a round plate with a hole in the center of 1.25 inches. We put it in a jig, weld it in there flat. Then we slide that down inside the tube, and it's in there about 5 or 6 inches. So it gives you a cantilever. It's not just welded to that end plate there with the 1.25 inch shaft sticking out of it. It's welded in a plate in here, and then it's welded to a plate at the end, and it's just the strongest way possible to give you something that probably is going to last a lifetime. So when you get down to the spikes on the roller, we're welding them on. They're about 1/4 inch longer than what other companies are using, and there's about 20% more of them. We've come up with a pattern that gives you a better penetration. And so what these spikes really do, they do two things. When you're working in a type of clay or clods, these little pins, because it puts so much weight on such a little area, they'll bust a clod. They also, when you get it nice and pulverized and your ground starts getting loose, they leave little dimples in the ground to give it low patches for the seeds to settle, collect moisture, and make your seeds come up a lot quicker. So we think we've come up with the right number of spikes on these rollers. It's a lot of labor to weld all these on there. It costs more to put more on there, but it's what we think it needs to be the best one out there, and that's what we want to be known for. Yeah, Everything Attachments is quality by design, and with the right design, you get the quality, and that's what we want. This is an implement that'll be good for 100 years, 200 years, whatever. There's no good reason I can think of right now that this isn't a multi-lifetime implement. So at Everything Attachments, we've done everything we can on all of our attachments to give you the best solid attachment, best value, good customer service. If you've got any questions, what size you need for your machine, give us a call or an email at Everything Attachments, and we'll be happy to help.